saw him fall to his death, did the free fall, that they were the ones who immediately identified Liam. They said it was the sound of his body hitting the ground that was even more haunting than the fall itself.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. My name is Adam Glyn. On the East Coast, on the West Coast is the guy who does not like Mariah Carey because she never did a Hanukkah special. She only does Christmas specials. Dax Holt.
You're an idiot.
I don't know why I couldn't even get that out. I was just laughing.
You're already laughing midway through your sentence, knowing that it was going to be funny.
Yeah, I know. How are you, bud?
I'm good. Good. Ready for this week. Ready for this week. Midway through the week already, but I'm now finally getting ready for it.
Yeah, Hollywood closes though for the month of LA. I mean, LA. No, for the month of December, LA Hollywood sort of closes. The show. Yeah, like what's funny? Like I'm working on some other projects, and they're like everyone says, like the agencies stop picking up their phone. No one takes meetings. Everyone's checked out for like 3 to 4, 3 weeks, like a solid 3 weeks. Nobody works. Yeah, it's kind of weird and crazy.
I remember back in like the TMZ days when it was that week in between Christmas and New Year's. Every time I was like, why are we here? Like, why is this a week that we're actually working? Because nothing is happening. Nothing's going on. We're basically like scrounging around trying to figure out stories or like, it was so bad. I don't think they actually like work that week anymore. I think they finally realized like this is the stupidest week ever. You may get a couple vacation photos from people in Hawaii or whatever, but that's kind of it. Because I know they've been like filming all these like holiday shows, so I don't know if they actually work anymore.
Yeah, it's a tough week just in anything in Hollywood. Just that, it's weird because you have movies that are coming out on Christmas, which used to be a big thing. Christmas Day used to be a huge day for movies to sort of come out, and now it's going to theaters is not really that. It's not as popular as it once was. But to think of movies like Wicked and Gladiator 2 and all that stuff, Oppenheimer, Barbie, Mufasa, maybe hopefully it brings people back to theaters, which I'm sure the theaters will do well on Christmas. Jews always look for something to do, like myself.
Chinese
Christmas
food and a movie.
Yes, exactly. Christmas party. Speaking of which, Dax, did you ever go to the Seth MacFarlane Christmas party?
No.
I thought you did for some reason.
No, I only ran into him once at like Bootsy Bellows way back in the day.
Oh, really? Was he cool to you, or was he nice?
Yeah, he was nice. It was just we happened to be like, I was dancing and I look over because this is like it turns from like a restaurant to a club, at least I did. And I remember at one point I look over, I'm like, where the hell did he come from? And why is Seth MacFarlane right next to me? But he was nice.
Yeah. No, he's a really nice guy, and he's such like a talented guy. But even as he's very, very successful. Are you surprised he's not bigger than he is?
He is huge, though.
No, he's huge, but I'm surprised he's not even bigger. Good-looking guy, talented guy, charismatic guy. With all that,
like, who would you compare him to? Who would you say, like, I would think he would have been at that level of fame right now?
One of the top comedic actors out there. And again, he has acted and he's done well. I thought that movie, the Western comedy movie they did was great. But I'm just surprised his name isn't in more consideration. I'm surprised paparazzi aren't filming him more. Surprised he hasn't been more with dating more big name celebrities.
But do you think that's because a lot of his success came from voice acting, so he wasn't like the face of it?
Could be. It very well could be. But I'm just surprised because I do think he's so talented and charismatic guy that the industry hasn't really accepted him more for than just Family Guy. Don't be wrong. He's like not crying to the bank at all. Like he's financially very,
good.
Very,
he's set.
Very well off. But
considering all the other characters on that show are set pretty much for life, we've had other. So I think he's going to be good. No worries for him.
I say this because like this past weekend, I saw photos of he had his Christmas party, and there wasn't like huge celebrity names there. Like the biggest name might have been Kristen Cavallari there. Besides that, it was like random celebrities. Like why Jasmine Sanders, like really, like that's the big name we're gonna have at your party. Like that's what paparazzi's waiting out for. Like I'm just, I don't know. I just saw it was very unique or interesting.
He
By the
used
way,
to have the biggest party in Hollywood too.
he
His
did.
parties were huge back in the day.
He did. Actually, I want to talk to you about a Christmas party that I went to this past week. Pretty crazy.
Do you want
But
me to
before
read a
we,
review?
yeah, let's read a review.
Okay. So I grabbed this review again. I grabbed it because it's timely, so it bumped up in the list. But it's called. It says Jamie Foxx. It's a 5-star review. It says, I always thought that Jamie Foxx had suffered a stroke. My mom, her mom, and my dad all suffered a stroke. My dad had just finished lifting weights and had a horrible headache. He thought it would feel better if he just showered, but the headache got worse. He went to the hospital. Turned out he had suffered a brain bleed and stroke. So this person obviously knows very well exactly what Jamie Foxx went through. Anyway, he went for a scan and never woke up. After 2 weeks in the hospital, he finally passed away the day after the 4th of July in 2009. Jamie Foxx was fortunate that he was diagnosed quickly enough and he didn't have any paralysis like my mom and grandmother. God bless him. See, what he went through was serious, bro.
I'm not taking that away. I know a stroke is a very serious thing. Like if someone has a stroke next to you, you don't say, haha, laugh, walk it off. You don't say, hey, let me just get him some water. You help out immediately.
Where was that person's name? No name popped up. What happened?
And where's the stars?
No, there's stars with, it's Daddy's Girl 54. Do you see above it?
Oh, gotcha. There you go. Daddy's Girl 54. Thank you. Listen, I'm glad. First of all, I'm glad your family's doing okay. A stroke is very, very serious. Just the way this special was promoted, the way it was all kind of put together, I thought it was going to be something way more serious, scandalous, and more. But instead, it was just a stroke. So again, I was a little kind of disappointed. As far as the special itself, it was fine. It was fine. I think still the best special of the year was Adam Sandler's special. I think that special was just so fun and dumb and nice. Yeah. And the special was called Love You or I Love You. And when you watch it, like, yeah, it's just like full of love. It's like dumb, fun comedy. So,
yep, for sure. Okay, sorry. Back to your holiday party because I know you had a crazy ass holiday party. Big stars walking around, all kinds of shit.
I wouldn't say big stars. There was I went to a holiday party, a friend's apartment. And when I mean apartment, he's got like a loft. People, do you know what the difference between an apartment and a loft is?
Isn't a loft like a whole floor that is all yours?
I guess that is. Yeah. All right. So yeah, he's got a loft. Like the elevator opens up and you're in their floor. You know, like you're right into their place. And which is weird because if you go in the elevator with like other people, do they just like walk? They could see right into your apartment. Like,
yeah, I've had some friends that have lived on like a loft. And you go up and it opens up and people see inside your house for that moment and then the door closes.
Yeah, it's sort of unique or interesting.
It's weird.
Anyway, it's weird. You got to get used to it. But I'm sure if you have a loft in New York City, you just hope at least the opening looks pretty decent. Like you're not like, ugh. But yeah, it was a loft, beautiful apartment. My friend has this party. It's very, very, I wouldn't say hard to get into, but it is. Like, yeah, I got to know him. But he's very like strict on the guest list. He wants to keep it classy, sexy, and cool. And there was a rumor that there was going to be a big star there, a big athlete there. And I go there at the party. I know a handful of people at this party, okay? A good amount of people, but not like a ton. And I try to like make myself, I'm by myself. I try to make myself seem like not awkward. You know, I get a drink, I kind of move around a lot and, you know, just try to talk to the people I know and not seem like the weird guy by himself. And at this party, they have like people dressed up like a Grinch walking around, a little person dressed as an elf. They have dancers and stuff. They have, you know, so of course, like I look, I guess, as cool as I try to look, I look lonely. And like, so
you're dressed up
the
like
guy
the lonely guy.
Yeah. So then like the elf comes by and talks to me like, hey, why the long face? Look, I'm like, all right. So I'm stuck in the corner talking to the elf and I hang out to the party at like midnight. And, you know, I did a bump of caviar. You like caviar?
Oh, I thought we were going to a different. I literally was like, oh, wow, we're going there, huh? Clear.
You ever do, I always see it on social media. You ever do caviar bumps?
No, dude. I've seen caviar. I've never been that intrigued. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fish eggs doesn't, I don't know.
I never had it. I see it on social media. I know it's a rich person thing. I saw it. I had to try it. Honestly, I didn't understand the appeal of it. I was like, oh, okay. I think you just do it.
Are they salty
fancy.
Or what? What's
Someone
caviar
says
really like?
buttery, but I don't even know. Like they just say like nothing to me. Like it's kind of like
Are they
nothing.
crunchy?
Not really. Like it's nothing. I
Because
don't
I'm thinking
understand the
of the
appeal of
like
it.
Masago that they put on
Yeah, yeah,
sushi and
yeah.
stuff, the little orange ones, where they kind of are crunchy or they kind of pop in your mouth a little bit.
I was
Those
sort of
ones are fine.
a little bit of the same texture, and I do that. But then
Weird.
I was at the party from about 10 to midnight, and the place is packed. Very attractive women, tons of models at this party, more women than men. And then the baby oil came out, and then I got naked. No, I'm just kidding. No, there was a lot of women, a lot of models. I'm probably the only six that's there. And all of a sudden, as I'm about to leave, who walks in the door with a hat like this,
Well, there's only
low
one
and
person who wears their hat that low. Only one
Leo?
person, of course.
Dude, Leo walked in. I backpedaled so quick and just ran to the back of the wall. I was like, oh, I'm not leaving now. And I just kind of put myself in a position like everyone knew who Leo was. People were being very cool, like, oh, he's here. But like everyone kind of played it coy, where like obviously there were some women who kind of gravitated towards him.
So wait,
And I
wait,
just wanted to see him
wait.
in his.
So when Leonardo DiCaprio walks into a party, does the whole party stop down? Does everyone get quiet? Does everyone look and notice that Leo just walked into this private party?
No, I mean the music was blasting. The music was going. People were dancing. I mean, he sort of again. There was more women than men. So when a guy walks in, especially wearing a hat, kind of low, he stands out.
Yeah.
And so he stands out when he walks in, and he goes right to the bar. Somehow they had a drink ready for him. Like somehow like gets a drink. He's drinking some sort of I think vodka drink, and he's having a good time. He's just like this, just like feeling the music. It's on 90s rap, and he was like into it. And I was like, oh man, this is it. The funniest thing about Leo dancing, he's like doing like gang signs as he dances. He's like doing like these weird, like he's doing like weird
Like holding
signs with
his
his
hands
hand.
up? Okay.
Yeah, like I was like, he was feeling it. Like I know he was loving the songs, and like I was watching him in his element. He was having a good time for a little bit. I got close to him. What I mean close to him, not like I don't know 7 feet next to him, but I made sure not to catch eyes with him. I didn't want to lock eyes with him.
Do you
And
think he would recognize you from like being
no,
on the
no,
street with a camera or something?
not at all, not at all. But I just don't want to be that guy that makes it awkward for him, and I
Yeah.
don't want the person whose house it is knows what I do. So I know they'd want to not make. They don't know my relationship with Leo, but they know what I do. So I'm sure they don't want to make it just if they knew if Leo knew who I was to make it uncomfortable. They just want to make it very chill. So I kind of like kept my distance, but always had like a side eye because again, it's fucking Leo DiCaprio. And then all of a sudden, he was there for about an hour, and then these three girls there who were not attractive, like kind of like move closer. They're dancing, getting closer and closer, and then they're like dancing right next to him and being like kind of like a little out there. You can tell
Mhm.
Leo's just like peace, and just poof, and just
And
vanishes
he disappeared?
into the wind, like a fucking fart in the wind, dude. He just disappeared. He was just gone. And I was like, oh, you ugly chicks ruined it. Like I was like, and then it felt like where he was standing in the party was like the hole in the party, like just vanished. And I was like, guys, like there we had him, the Wolf of Wall Street, like right there at the party. And like
Oh
they
man.
ruined it because like they wanted to have that moment with Leo. I was like, guys, know your place. And he wasn't dancing. I mean, he had some women dancing next to him. He wasn't like grinding with any women by any means, but like it's Leo. It's
So
Leo.
it's so funny. Like I'm younger than Leo, and I don't even like I thinking about going out and clubbing right now, or I'm just like, oh,
Yeah,
or going, no thanks. I want to go home and go to bed.
dude.
He's 50 rolling in there, just like living the life of a 20-year-old. It's amazing.
It's crazy because he is like 50, but when he came into the party, like he doesn't seem like 50. And maybe it's because the swag he has, maybe it's the style, maybe
And
it's
because it's Leonardo fucking DiCaprio,
I
that's why.
know. Dude,
That's so cool. I mean,
it's
to
so
say though
sick.
that you went to
So
a holiday party and you were partying with Leonardo DiCaprio this weekend is pretty dope, must say.
well, it's funny because I told my dad, and the person that was supposed to be at the party, a big time athlete, I told my dad in advance, like, and I saw my dad the next day, and he was like, "Hey, how was that party? Did you see that the person you thought was going to be there?" I was like, "No," but Leo showed up, and he was like, "Leo," and I was like, "Yeah, like that's even cooler. Like that's
Not
Leo."
someone you get to be around very often.
Yeah, and
Pretty
you know
sick.
what's so funny? Like, part of me was just like, what if I saw Leo on the street and introduced myself and say, "Hey, man, like this is what I do, but just so you know, like." I never bother you. Like, I'm just a fan. I know you're not into it. And just but I wonder if he would have like a heart to heart conversation with me, or just because what I do, he'd be like, screw you, you scumbag, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I just never, you know?
I'm gonna say option number 2. Don't you remember he got me kicked out of a club once?
Yeah.
So I don't think he gives a shit about your full life story. Like I was not bothering him. I was in a club to have fun that night, and he literally got me and my buddy removed from the club because he didn't even want to be there because he knew us from TMZ. So I have no doubt that that conversation might not go well for you.
Yeah. Well, do you think maybe he has that app where they can find about predators in the area, and then it start beeping once you were there? So but no, dude, just seeing Leo in his element was so cool. And I was so mad at these girls. Like, what made you think you had a shot being with Leo? Like, why would you, like, what were you thinking?
Hey,
And then
everyone's got
also,
to shoot their shot, bro. Everyone's got to shoot their shot. Have you ever been to any other kind of holiday party that's had this big of a star at it? Like you really don't get bigger than Leo.
um, no, I told you like last week I was at a holiday party and David Beckham was there, but that was like a different type of holiday party. That was at a restaurant slash club. It was a
Yeah.
company. It was very corporate. This is like a personal holiday party. I mean, I've been at this holiday party before, and I've seen like there's a few billionaires in the room. They've had a Lesso DJ before in the past. I've seen like just random names there,
Yeah.
like rappers, but nothing crazy. But this was Leo in an apartment. Leo and I in the same apartment. I was like,
You
how do you
said
even?
it was a loft, you liar.
Well, loft, apartment loft. I don't know what to say. So,
Did you do anything else fun this weekend?
not really, man. I went to another holiday party, but this was no celebs, but it was at the Plaza Hotel in the
Okay.
city. And I mean, super nice is the Oak Room in the Plaza. And I was like trying to think of I was trying to guess the price of it. And someone tried to say like the party could have been like 75,000, but it was a $300,000 party, Christmas
What?
party, which is insane. But I had to leave the party
What?
because early, like I went there, ate some food, had a drink, made sure I had a good drink. But then I ran to the party and it was freezing out, dude, because I had a tip that uh, Oprah was throwing Gayle a surprise party.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all over the news. I don't know if you saw Oprah put on her Instagram, Gayle did on her Instagram that. So I had a tip that Oprah was throwing Gayle a surprise party. So I was like, man, this is going to be great. But I didn't know really exactly what was going on. And I went there honestly just to sort of have like a moment quick with Oprah. So I get to the party, right? And I have an idea where the people are being dropped off. And I get there. Oprah gets there like 15 minutes after. But I'm with another paparazzi friend of mine. And when they got out of the car, Oprah got out of the car with Gayle. And I had my camera and I was like, and I didn't want to ruin the surprise. I mean, it's a surprise party. And the paparazzi I was with didn't really want to do anything either. Because again, it's a surprise party. We don't want to ruin the whole thing for him. So like he took like a quick 2 shots. I was like, hi, Oprah. And I just like let them walk.
Yep.
And I watched them walk probably like 600 feet because he had to kind of get off at one part and walk to where the surprise party was. And I watched Gayle walk into her surprise party.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
And
Did you tape that moment?
I mean, no, I kind of let them walk because again, I didn't want to ruin the surprise or ruin the experience because I know it was a big thing. In fact, me and the paparazzi said we're not going to even wait for exits. Like we're not going to shoot them leaving. It's their night. Let's give them a break. But now I look back and I see the photos of the party. I'm like, man, should we even give him a
Who
break?
else was there?
Dude, I mean, based on what I'm seeing on social media, you had Katy Perry, Orlando Bloom, Jeff Bezos. Man, I mean,
Oh, you're an idiot.
Beyonce's mom was there. I mean, you had Robert Kraft, you had Stephen Colbert, I mean, there were so many people out. Robert De Niro. I'm like, man, maybe we should have just shot them on the way out, but we just didn't want to feel like dicks, like we wanted them to have their moment. So
But
part
you
of me,
could have got them coming out. Why would that have been a dick move?
I don't
The
know.
party would have been over.
Yeah, but we just like didn't want, they didn't want us there. Let's be real. I mean,
I'm
maybe
more
they did. I
sad
don't
that you
know.
missed the surprise moment. That is fun to see.
I know, but again, we didn't want to ruined the party. I
Yeah,
think honestly, if it was a regular party, Dax, I think it would have been fine. It would have been screwed. But because it was a surprise party, we didn't want to ruin it. Now, my only hope is the next time I see Oprah, I could tell her this, and then she kind of is like, "Hey, says thank you." Like, and like she knows my job and our
yeah,
job.
but she's gonna be like, she's gonna look at you and be like, Adam, do you know who was at the party? Do you know who you could have gotten as they walked out? She's gonna be like, you're an idiot, Adam.
I know. Well, I mean, I'm sure she won't say that, but I mean, I just hope they're appreciative of us being like cool.
Yeah,
But I
no.
fucked up because I could have got paid pretty well. Yeah, like when I'm spending, when money comes from my bills, I'm like, oh, I could have made some money.
Right.
I don't know.
By the way,
How
you
was
see
your?
all this James Kennedy shit that happened over the weekend?
What are your thoughts on this whole James Kennedy thing? Is he a dick? Is like, what's the girlfriend? The girlfriend's now talking. Tell me
Well,
what the latest is here. Actually,
yeah, I'm very curious to see how this plays out. I mean, I don't want to be stuck talking Vanderpump Rules for 6 months now. Like, I feel like some of these other stories, like we just went down this road where I feel like we couldn't get away from Vanderpump Rules. But here's the deal. So James Kennedy, his girlfriend, Allie Luber, she's actually speaking out, breaking her silence after his arrest. If you remember, so what was it, Thursday or Friday, he was basically detained in police custody because I guess there was some misdemeanor charge of domestic battery upon a spouse or cohabitant after an unidentified woman inside stated her boyfriend, quote unquote, lifted her up and threw her to the ground. And that was according to the arrest log. Well, she is now speaking up. She's saying, thank you to everyone who has reached out with love and support and for checking in on me. She said that I'm okay and I'm taking the time I need right now. I deeply appreciate all the kindness and respect and privacy during this time. This is not the first time I think he's been accused of being a little violent with other people. I'll say that. I remember Rachel Levy's, she even spoke up and she just said the amount of times that, I kept quiet when he did something that was not okay and I just chalked it up to a misunderstanding is ridiculous. So I think she's kind of backing up this story at this point. But he was released on a $20,000 bond. At least that's according to the Los Angeles jail records. And his defense team also kind of spoke up for the first time. And it was interesting because it wasn't like they said he didn't do anything, which normally a defense team is going to be like, no. But they said, we are in the process of conducting our own investigation into the allegations levied by the Burbank Police Department against James. They said, we understand that there is no injuries and we are hopeful after careful review, the city's attorneys will decide not to file formal charges. I just thought it was a really interesting way they crafted that statement. They didn't say he did nothing. They said there were no injuries. So
yeah, I mean,
curious. I also wonder because they seemed really good a couple days ago. Like she was talking really positive about their relationship like on the 3rd of December. And then it all went south. And I'm like, are frustrations high right now because they all just got canned from Vanderpump? That stress of, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with my life now.
it could be. I mean, here's the other thing. So Raquel, remember Raquel, Tom Sandoval's Raquel? She used to be
I thought it was
engaged to
Rachel. Why I can never get it. Like, is it
Rachel,
Rachel Raquel? I
but did
swear
she change
she
her
switched
name?
her name up.
Raquel, Rachel. Well, she used to be engaged to James Kennedy, and so she basically, her lawyers said, we are aware of James Kennedy's recent arrest for domestic violence. This news is unfortunately, not surprisingly, Rachel's revenge porn lawsuit describes in significant detail Mr. Kennedy's long history of erratic, violent behavior and substance abuse. I mean, does this bring Vanderpump back in some sort of way? I don't know. Does this make James Kennedy sort of?
I think it's as lucrative as Scandival was for them. I don't think that Bravo wants to go down that road. I think that's why they're scrapping everyone and starting over for the 12th season. Like it's going to be all new servers. And that's a big move. I'm curious how that works out for Bravo because there's been times in the past where you fall in love with the storyline of cast members and then you get rid of them. And now people are like, why am I invested in this show? I don't know if this would be a bad move for Bravo personally.
Wait,
People
what do you mean
like
the bad move to keep the show alive in some way?
to can everyone and start fresh. with all new servers seems like a bad idea. Like that's people fall in love with personalities.
Yeah, but I feel like people, I'll tell you what, you might think there's some huge fan base. I'm sure there is people that still love the old vintage cast, but it got expensive. It got out of
Mhm.
hand. It lost the soul and heart of the show, which was around the restaurant, I think.
Or do you
And
think it's like, hey, these people have been on the show for 11 years. They're starting to age out of our demo that we want to attract. Like we want people who are 10 years younger.
I think ultimately it came down to money too. They got too expensive. You have to pay these people more and more. Are they going to take a pay cut? I mean, that's also the other thing is like Peacock, the Peacock network, whatever it is, their platform needs their own original content. So why not just say, hey, listen, here's the deal, guys. We could do this show. It's going to be 20 grand an episode each. We can't afford what we're going to do. But yet again, I feel like these people are loose cannons and they'll say, well, we got offered $20,000 less. Blah, blah. So there's no right way for them. And I think it's just good for business. I think it
Yeah,
just
well,
lost the core of the show.
I can tell you, he wasn't hiding out. He also returned to like the DJ booth this weekend. He was
Of
performing
course
at
he
the
is. He's going to get
Brave
paid.
Eagles Club in Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Woohoo! Milwaukee.
right on the heels of his domestic violence arrest. So he was like, "I'm not giving up this opportunity to show up and make some money. Plus, you got to pay off your $20,000 bond, that you just got out." So,
Yeah.
uh,
I wouldn't
well,
turn down the gig. I mean, listen, this is good gigs. It's easy to DJ, and he loves it too.
yeah.
Um, Another story that happened recently, Dax. My favorite star of
Mm.
2024, maybe the last 2 years, Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, you do love her.
So do you, because you know what it is? I just think she owns it. She doesn't hide. She's just like she understands the business more than anyone.
Yeah.
She is so good, and she kind of responded on her social media regarding because she got body shamed. There's some paparazzi that got photos of her at her home,
Hmm.
where maybe she wasn't. I thought she looked great, but some people, body shamers, like to say, "Oh, look at this girl. She might not look her best here, but she looked great," and she responded this week. But I'm just so surprised but I'm not surprised how much coverage this got and how like I guess maybe because she
No,
responded to the
she
body
knows
shamers.
she knows how to play the game and she knows how to get press. And if you miss the video on her social media, Sydney Sweeney posted, and this was her response to body shaming. She posted a video where it started with a bunch of like shitty comments saying, "You look quite frumpy, your body is not that incredible." And then it goes into this like montage of her working out, boxing, flexing for the cameras, where she's like really looking like she's in great shape. This is also because she filmed that biopic for Christy Martin, the boxer, that really famous boxer. She's doing the biopic. And so she was showing, like, look, I am getting into shape, or I got into shape, and that her body really is amazing. I just thought it's a smart way to do it. You're not only responding to critics, you're showing these great videos, and you're getting a ton of press for a new movie that you're going to be in. Like she gets the game. It really is unbelievable.
Yeah, she gets the game of it. At the end of the day, it's also good for her career for her to be sort of a big voice and not to lay back and speak up. She did that
Mhm.
recently when people came at her recently again for something else. For well, no, she stepped up for going against like feminism or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. So I forget the story we had in our raw rundown, but I don't know. I just think she gets it, even to the PR aspect when she was promoting that movie with Glenn Powell, saying that they were kind of leading to there was some sort of relationship going. And at the end of the day, she was just promoting the movie. The movie was
Oh yeah.
terrible, but still, I mean, I just like that she gets it. She owns it. Very attractive, great actress. She bought this like, I don't know,
You think she's
$13
a
million.
great actress?
I do think she's a great actress.
I think
Dude, you
she's
know what?
good. I don't know if I go down as great. I think
I'd
she's a
say
good actress.
here's why I say she was a great actress. And this what kind of I'm not saying from that one movie that she did with Glenn Powell, which wasn't my favorite movie by any
Mhm.
means. But when she was on Saturday Night Live, I thought she really showed like her acting chops. Now you could say like what she's reading off cue cards, but Chris Rock did it this past week, and he wasn't. He actually was a funny SNL. I don't think he acted that great in it, But when Sydney did it, she was like,
She
wow,
did a
like
good job. I'll
she
have
did
to.
a good job.
I will have to go watch that episode because I do feel your acting talent does shine if you do a good job on something like Saturday Night Live, where it is live. You can't go back, recut it. You have to just roll with the punches. I'll go watch that and reassess my assessment of her acting.
Yeah, but it's weird for her because she bought this home in Florida. And based on the photos from me, it looks like it's on the water, which, there's photographers down in Florida. They're allowed to kind of go on a boat in Florida and
Mhm.
shoot. Well, Dax, you tell me, if you're on your home, but they're on public property, can they take photos of you legally?
I think that they get away with it a lot. Down there in Florida, you see a lot of photos coming from like the Star Island homes where it's their backyard. There's no fence because it essentially just goes to the water's edge. I would say this is more of an ethical thing where do you really feel that it's okay to take photos onto someone's property where they could be in their house? Granted, they know the risk, I would say. Like if you're in your backyard and paparazzi take photos of them all the time, you kind of know that if you go out there and you're not wearing much, they're going to take shots. So it's one of those, it's a weird, like gray area, I would say.
Yeah, it's tough because again, she just made this big investment, this home, this beautiful home, and I'm sure everything in the home is perfect, except that you have this sort of uh not home where it can maybe not feel private. Honestly, in other ways, like not safe in a way. Like some
Mhm.
wacko comes on a boat to your backyard and jumps on your property. I mean, it's it's a little crazy. It's a little weird and scary. I don't know. She just rules. I think she might be one of my favorite female celebrities out there right now. I just think she's cool. She gets it. We like her. We support her. We're fans of you. Please come on the podcast, even though you won't. All right. Yeah. Imagine that'd be so sick.
Okay,
Um,
you know what I want to talk about oh, by the way, I just opened up Instagram and the first thing I see is Gayle and Oprah walking into that restaurant that you literally just talked about. That's kind of fun to see that. No, I want to talk about something else you sent me this weekend on IG. It's a GQ article, or at least one of their writers put out this story about how they don't like that stars have become boring and that they've a lot of stars have played into this, like, we're just like you, like Taylor Swift. They're like, Taylor Swift is wearing normal clothes, speaking to normal people, and half the allure of celebrity was that they were bigger than us, that they were richer than us, that they wore clothes that no one could afford. So I I I think this was a great question GQ put out there. Like, is this what we want? Do we want our celebrities to be just like us, or do we want them on another level that is more interesting, where they're rich and famous and unattainable?
it's a good question. It's a very good angle. I think, me personally, I think there's a fine line. You have to find that balance, when to turn it on and when to turn it off. You want to be relatable to a certain extent.
But do
You want
you?
to be,
Because I think they're right. Lady Gaga or Mariah Carey or some of these people, like, they're not relatable, and that's what makes them fun.
yeah, but you also want to be like, hey, you ever go to that pizza place? Oh, I heard that pizza place is dope. Really? You heard about it? Like, you want them to have their feet on the ground and sort of know everything that's going on in the world of cool. But yet again, I want to be also not be able to go to any place they go to as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think I don't want them to know about my local pizza parlor. I want them to tell me about Zero Bond and this place that I can't get into. I want to be, oh, I did Zero Bond twice this week, and they've got a table that is always open for me whenever I want to go, and the food, the escargot is amazing, and just for me to go, wow, I wonder what it's like to be them. That's what makes celebrities really interesting because
Yeah.
they live a life I can't live.
So are celebrities just too obtainable now?
Yeah, they're too
Is there
accessible,
too accessible, obtainable? Is there too many celebrities right now?
and they're giving up almost too much of their life when their social media. I think that overexposing yourself also makes you not as cool. So that when you're just always posting, 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 there's no allure to them. There's no
Mystery.
mystery to them anymore. It's just I see every day a new post by them. I think someone like Angelina or Leonardo DiCaprio, you don't see them post. You don't know about their life, so you're still curious about what's happening in their worlds. When then you've got other celebrities who post everything about their life. They're almost more boring.
Yeah, I guess you gotta know what kind of range of celebrity you are. I expect people like Julianne Hough to do stuff like that because
Yeah, but she's a influencer, in my opinion.
now she is,
I'm
right?
talking huge star, even like a Katy Perry. Katy Perry became too accessible, I feel like, over the last 10 years. And obviously Idol was huge for her, but when she started doing, like, remember that she did that like Celebrity Big Brother thing when she was releasing one of her albums, and like it was her waking up, eating breakfast, like it's too
Too much.
accessible.
Too much. And I think less is more. And I don't disagree with it. It's just how I like my celebrities. It's just how I
Mhm.
grew up on celebrities. It's why I kind of what gained my interest in celebrities. But now I think Dax also it's such an interesting time because when we came up in this industry, you always saw these celebrities randomly. You always saw these celebrities once a week when the Us Weekly magazine came out, when the Star magazine came out. That's the only time you saw these celebrities. But now, as soon as you put it on your phone, you're going to see these celebrities. They're just in your algorithm so much. So they're a little in your face too much. So that's why, like, I still I'm curious and interested to like a Christina Aguilera because when she comes out, it's like, oh, there she is. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. I want to see what your deal is and
Mhm.
what you're like.
No,
There's more
I
curiosity.
think GQ hit it on the head, and I didn't know that I wanted to hear this so bad, but celebrities are boring these days, and it really comes down to accessibility. I don't wanna see every aspect of your life and know everything that you're doing, because then you're not fun anymore. And Adele, she's not out and about all the time. She's interesting. I think God, there were some other people that just popped into my mind right now that I just thought I don't know enough about them, and it leaves me wanting more, and that's what makes them a huge star.
So you mentioned Adele. Give me three other people that you'd be very curious in.
Ooh, that's okay. So Adele is definitely one. I think, who else? I mean, Brad Pitt, I find still very interesting because he's
Sure.
not super obtainable. Um, you,
Me is
you
like
gotta you gotta throw out all these influencers because
that's their
they're
bread and
too
butter.
much in your face. Granted, I find a lot of them interesting, but they're too accessible.
But it's always the
Ooh,
older people. It's not really like the younger people. How many younger peoples are sort of a little bit more mysterious? I
mhm.
guess in some ways, like I bring up my new favorite, Gracie Abrams. I think there's still a little mystery with her as a young person. We sort of know where she's touring, but she doesn't do a lot of Instagram stories. They're usually
What
like,
about Tom Holland? Tom Holland stays interesting because he doesn't release that much about himself. I think he's still on IG and stuff, and he'll
yeah,
post,
but he's like a thespian.
but he's not like putting out every single thing about him, and it keeps the allure.
Adam
Um,
Driver.
that's a
You know, I
random
know he's
name.
on Broadway.
Okay.
I know he's on Broadway right now, but it's one of those guys where he's a great actor. When he does a role, you probably know it's a good film because the guy just he picks good stuff. But I'm just interested in the guy, and I think, but is there a musician like even like Bruno Mars? You don't see a lot
Mhm.
about him. I mean, Bruno Mars. There's been allegations about Bruno Mars that he's doing his residency at the MGM Grand because he had this like gambling debt there. And rather than address it and kind of like face it, he just sort of like, I'm just gonna play into it. I'm just gonna keep playing. And I don't know if it's true, but he's just sort of like this guy is like one of the most talented guys, but still hanging on an album that came out 3 years ago. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's I don't know. I'm just interested in what this guy's deal is.
Keanu Reeves, great example. I love that Keanu, there is no social media. He is one of the greatest guys out there, and you don't know much about him, which makes you want to know more. He is a perfect example of someone who still balances that fame and curiosity level. Love
All
it.
right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us for our
Or are we done? You're just wrapping it up?
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
listen, everyone else is not working. Can we not
Oh, no. I need to talk one last story. I'm sorry. I got to take this one last story because this popped up and so there was an eyewitness to Liam Payne's fall, and this guy is now speaking up, and it caught my attention. TMZ did like an exclusive interview. They're putting out some new show about Liam Payne and like a deep dive. It's called TMZ Presents Liam Payne, Who's to Blame? But there was a guy now saying that he was a hotel guest at the Casa Sur Palermo in Buenos Aires for his wedding. And I guess what had happened was that day, him and his wedding planner had like ran in, were downstairs on the first floor and basically saw him fall to his death, did the free fall, and talked about exactly what had happened, that they were the ones who immediately identified Liam and believes he died instantly. But they said it was the sound of his body hitting the ground that was even more haunting than the fall itself. And then the guy gets kind of like emotionally choked up. So I think it's like one of those things that you see it happen and it just keeps replaying in your brain over and over again. He said that him and his wedding guests saw Liam throughout the day and noticed that he was becoming more and more intoxicated and erratic over the hours that passed. And he actually saw that last encounter where the hotel staff had carried him up by the arms and legs from the lobby to his hotel room where they left him alone. And then short time later is when he fell from the balcony. And anyway, they somehow TMZ's got their hands on a bunch of huge interviews with Roger Noors, which was Liam's friend who left him, that now prosecutors are trying to charge him with abandonment. They talked to one of the waiters who was prosecuted and charged with supplying drugs to Liam. Anyway,
Why would these guys talk though? I don't understand. Why would these guys? This is an open investigation. Why would these guys?
I don't know. I do not know.
Are they
But
getting paid?
they're all talking. Maybe, I don't know. Normally, I can tell you from my years there that they don't pay for interviews. But maybe people are just wanting to like stay their peace. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I
So
think it's weird that I mean, this story brings in clicks though. I mean, we're part of it too. I mean, people are very interested in this whole.
it's fascinating, it's like you never want to see someone young pass away, and every day there's like new little bits of information that keep coming out. And anyway, I wanted to talk about that because this was the first time I've heard from this guy talking up and saying his story. I found it fascinating.
Yeah, well,
Anyway,
that's
I had to add that one in.
unique. I probably will not watch, but I I understand the case, the story it brings in views. Do you want to do that one last story, or yeah, let's save it. You know what it is? Because right now, listen, we're doing this podcast December 16th. I'm trying to think of like the weeks that come up. I know Hollywood shuts down. I'm actually going away. I'm going to be kind of gone for the rest of the month. I think I'm done working. I think I'm done
Yeah,
working for the month.
you're over
Yeah,
it.
I think I'm retired. I think I'm retired. I made enough money where I could just retire, but there's just nothing going on. Like it's like if you're a D-list celebrity, now's your time to get on shows because they're looking for people.
Yeah, if there's any D-list celebs you want to come on our podcast, just let us know. We've got
Somehow they're
plenty of
busy.
time and availability.
You know what's so funny, dude? I think she's like I talked to Rebecca Black, her rep last week.
I would love to have her on.
She's like doing really well right now, but like I talked to her rep last week and said, hey, why don't you have her come on the podcast? Oh, she's doing a photo shoot next week. For what? Come on. Like, is she just what kind of photo shoot is she doing? So you have money coming out. What money's coming in? Let me help bring in money or like promote a project. It's just so stupid.
I would love to have her on. Yeah, if we can get her on. That, I mean, just someone who's gone through that like life of a viral star, and then what do you do when it goes away? And does she have actually a good voice, but she was introduced in the wrong way, so now people will just associate her with having a shitty voice?
Well,
I'm fascinated in her.
She DJs now. I think she does. There's these. Have you seen on social media these boiler room parties where it's kind of like a dance party based around the DJ? but it's sort of like in a basement-ish type thing, kind of tight, small, not this big light show. It's all about the music, and I saw her DJing that, and listen, I know it brings in there's a lot of money in the EDM world, so but I'm sure she's doing it right financially. I think she comes from some pretty nice means, but
Yeah.
hopefully she comes on to kind of clarify that if she does come from some very good financial
Come on,
means.
Rebecca. Come join us.
We'll talk about that other story another time. I feel like it's not going anywhere, but it's not really like a time. I just thought it was a unique kind of story I read. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on Red Coral Universe, thank you for watching on YouTube. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Follow our private Facebook group, Off the Record. Talk to us. We'll talk to you. Fun community. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.